salt of the earth, light of the world. These are things that people say inside of the church, outside of the church, but do we even know what they mean? Thankfully, Jesus is a genius, and his Sermon on the Mount can actually radically transform our lives if we just chew on these words for a little bit. He started his Sermon on the Mount with the Beatitudes, which is this strange declaration of blessing to people who ought not be blessed. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, there is a video before this one that's all about that. Salt of the earth and light of the world comes right off the heels of those declarations of blessings. And what's cool is that Jesus still hasn't gotten into the part where he's like, well, here's what you should do. He's still making declarations. And salt of the earth and light of the world, guess what? It's two more declarations. He doesn't say, all right, boys and girls, make sure that you are salt. Hey, make sure that you're light. Instead, he just says, you're the salt. You are the light. I'm just saying it. You are the salt and you are the light. Here's how he puts it in Matthew chapter 5. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. Now, salt and light are not something that are exclusively used in the ancient world. Obviously, we still use salt today, and obviously, we still need light today. So let's think about why we use salt and light. Fortunately, Jesus doesn't explain what he means by these things. And I say fortunately because I think it's better for us to have to chew on these things and to have to wrestle with what was Jesus trying to teach us by saying that we are salt and we are light. When I think about salt, I think about the fact that, one, I put salt on a lot of my food. Salt makes things taste better. Sometimes I will cook something and I'll think, man, I just didn't make it as good as I did last time. And then I remembered, oh, because I didn't add salt. And as soon as you add salt, it magically transforms something into being way more flavorful. So when Jesus looks at his disciples, when he looks at people who he's inviting into the kingdom, he says, hey, you're the thing that makes stuff taste good. The earth will not taste good without you. You are the salt. Right? Another thing that salt is good for, it's not just good for making things taste good, but salt also can be a preservative. We can cure meats, we can cure all sorts of food by using salt. See, if I took a steak and I left it out in the middle of the day and the beaming hot sun is cooking on that steak out with the flies and everything, if I came up to that steak, let's say I set it out on a Tuesday and I come back to that steak on a Friday, and I look at the steak and now it's got maggots in it and it's like kind of a gray color and it's all disgusting. If I look at that steak and I'm like, what's your problem, steak? Why'd you go bad? I was counting on you to be a good, tasty steak. I left you out here because I wasn't hungry at the time and I wanted to come back and eat you later. You're messed up. You know what? Steaks just aren't what they used to be. Well, is it the steak's fault? Or is it the person who was supposed to be preserving the steak's fault that it now has maggots and is gray and disgusting? Sorry for the visual. I think that we all know that it's not the fault of the steak for getting rotten. It's the fault of the person who's supposed to be preserving it, or the thing that's supposed to be preserving it. Instead of saying, what's wrong with the steak, we say, where was the salt? Right? Where was the curing agent that was supposed to protect it from all of these things? Where was the preservative so that this steak wouldn't go bad? And I think this is what we do a lot of times in the world, is we see the world falling apart, or we see bad things in society, or even on social media, maybe even previous to seeing this video in your feed, wherever you saw it, you thought, wow, this world is pretty bad. This is messed up. Instead of thinking, why is the steak rotting? I think what Jesus is inviting us to do is to say, where's the salt? Why is this thing not healthier? Why is this thing rotting right in front of our very eyes? There should be some salt nearby to keep this thing from rotting. So salt is a preservative. Salt makes things taste better. If you're a Christian, you probably should be making things that are good, that make stuff better in this world. Make good music, make good movies, make good business deals, make good families, raise good children, be the type of people that make things taste better in this world. And salt also, when diluted properly, can actually be a healing agent. Maybe Jesus is inviting us to be agents of healing in the world. Now, salt and healing, there's a tricky relationship there, right? You can use a saline rinse to rinse out a wound and make sure that the wound gets healed much more quickly. And when salt is diluted properly, it can be that healing restorative agent, right? When you get a sore throat, sometimes you put a little salt in water, you gargle it and you spit it out. But what happens if you get a cut and then someone just takes a bunch of salt and then rubs it into your wound? Is that going to feel very good? Is it even going to heal it? I mean, you know the answer. It's not going to heal anything. It's actually going to make things worse. And I think that sometimes we take this salt of the earth thing and we take this we need to be responsible for the world thing, and maybe we take it overboard in the other direction. We're like going around simply casting judgment, talking about how messed up people are, pointing the finger at how evil the rest of the world is. And in doing so, instead of being the agent of healing that makes things taste better, that preserves things from rotting, we become people that rub salt in the wounds of the world, that make the world not very happy that the salt is around. Right? That makes the rest of the world think, wow, that's the opposite of healing. It's actually making me more broken and more hurt. So Jesus declares, you're the salt of the earth. And if the salt loses its saltiness, it should be thrown out. Now, Jesus is no dummy. I think he's being really smart here when he says if salt loses its saltiness, because you might be thinking, how does salt lose its saltiness? It's not like if you leave salt in the cupboard for a really long time, it stops being salty. Salt is salty. So I think what Jesus is saying is, hey, if you're not salty, maybe you're not salt. If you're not bringing healing to the world, if you're not making things better, if you're not preserving things from rotting, are you salt in the first place? Now, that's not the only image. He also uses this light of the world image. And he says, a city on a hill cannot be hidden. You don't light up a light in your house and cover it up. I think that Jesus is pointing to the job of light here. Now, light is really fascinating in physics and science and all of that. But here he's being very practical. If you're walking through a dark landscape and you know that your destination is a city and it's getting dark and it's nighttime, a city that has lamps and houses and people dwelling there and it's on a hill, it's going to be seen. You're going to be able to see where you're trying to get to. If you light up a lamp at nighttime to get around to your house, or if you turn the light switch on in your house, the purpose of the light is to help people see the things that they're supposed to see, right? To be able to get to the place that they're trying to get to. It's a guiding tool. And I think similar to the salt in the wound metaphor that we just talked about, I think that sometimes this is how some of our Christian brothers and sisters do the light business, is that they're light like a flashlight. Maybe you've been camping and you're walking along a dark path and you're really struggling to not trip over rocks and things. I mean, in the city, everything's always lit up. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere, sometimes you really need that flashlight. And if you don't have a flashlight, you're doing your best to see. And up ahead of you, it's your friend. They have a flashlight. They're walking towards you. And especially if you work with junior hires or kids, when they're carrying flashlights, what's the first thing they do with the flashlight when they see you walking the direction? They take the flashlight and they shine it in your eyes. When they shine the flashlight in your eyes, does that actually help you see where you're going or guide you or help you know where your next step is supposed to be? No, it does the opposite, right? Sometimes the light, when it's used inappropriately, blinds you. And I think that doing this misses the point of what Jesus is trying to say here. He's like, you are the light of the world. Your job is not to shine the light in people's eyes so that they're blinded, but your job is to shine the light on the path to God. You're supposed to be the type of light that people can use so they can say, oh, that's where I'm supposed to be going. Or, wow, that's how family is supposed to work. Or, that's a way better way of doing romance. Or, man, maybe we should be producing media that's like this. You're the light of the world that is supposed to show the way to where we're supposed to be going. And just to show that I'm not making this up, what does he say at the end of this little salt and light speech? He says, so that people can see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. See, we're supposed to be salt and we're supposed to be light, not just so that we can be, ooh, I'm tasty, or look at me, I'm shining so bright. We're supposed to be salt and light so that people can see God. They can see where they're supposed to go. So maybe think about your immediate context right now. Think about your school. Think about your workplace, your family, the people that you see. Maybe you walk to work or you ride your bike to work and you pass the same people every day. What does it mean to be salt in their lives? How could you make their lives a little bit tastier? Make their lives a little bit more enjoyable and better? How could you make your workplace a better, more functional place. Maybe there are things that are rotting around you in your friend group. How do you be the person that preserves things from rotting? Maybe you're the person that shuts down gossip when it picks up. Maybe that's what it means to be salt in your context. And also, maybe you're supposed to be the one that heals. When people have experienced things that have been traumatizing, that have broken them, maybe you can be the balm in their life that helps them clean out their wounds so that they can receive the healing that they need. And as people in this world, they're looking for answers. You guys know they're looking for answers. You're looking for answers. I'm looking for answers. And if you are the light of the world, what that means is you're the type of person that maybe you don't have all the answers, but you can shine the light to the one who does have the answers. Maybe you don't have it all figured out, but you can be the person that's shining the light to see, hey, check out the Father. He's pretty great. Check out Jesus. He's pretty amazing. Check out the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit can totally guide you. Shine the light on the one who can actually lead the way so that people will see the way that you live your life and say, sign me up for that. Yeah, I definitely want to live that way. And even though they don't have all the answers, I definitely want to follow where they're going because that's going to a good place, a world that is no longer rotten, but that is shining and living well. So be salt, be light. I dare you.